it's Sharon with Crafty Acres, and today I'm going to be planting up some tomato plants, so why don't you come along and join me. Hi, we're getting ready to plant a bunch of tomato plants. We've got all different varieties and we'll go through them real quick with you. This one right here is Brad's Atomic Grape. It's got a green interior flesh when it's ripened, but the outside is supposed to have these wonderful Technicolor explosion of different colors from green to brown to purple. And then it's also one of the wild boar varieties. They developed it and it won the National Heirloom competition in 2017. So this is a terracotta. It's a Thornton Burns terracotta. It's a large beefsteak type, and this one will be it'll have the beefsteak type tomato, and it'll be terracotta color with the peachy undertones, and it's supposed to have a really good flavor. This one is the Indigo Kumquat, and it's going to have a smaller than the grape, and it's going to be a little bit of the grape shape, but it's going to be a little bit smaller sized, and it's just going to have purple colorations on it with green. So we have 4 Cosmic Eclipse, and you might be wondering what happened to this one. They tangled up and I broke the top off, but we'll show you how to take care of this one. We're going to plant it too. And with these Cosmic Eclipse, they're 2 to 3 ounce tomatoes, so it's a little bit larger on the size of the cherry tomatoes. And they're going to have a wonderful indigo coloration, which is the red and the purple, and then a wonderful sweet smell. This one here is Orange Wellington. We actually grew these from seed, and it's a hybrid type where the rest of these were heirlooms. And it's going to be a giant beefsteak, 8 ounce, 12 ounce beefsteak tomato. And this last one is a Lucky Tiger. It's a plum type. I'm thinking it's going to be on the smaller size of the plum types, which is like your Romas. But this is an heirloom as well, and it's going to be red with green striping. Okay, so here we are digging the holes for the tomatoes. We're prepping the bed, and he's going to put a row of tomatoes over here and then a row of tomatoes along this side. So both sides there's going to be a row of tomatoes, and we're probably going to have a couple of them back in here. So 3 across back here for maybe 2 rows. And then in the center, between the 2 rows of tomatoes, we're going to have a bunch of peppers, which we're going to have to do probably next week. We might get to it in a couple of days, but it just depends on how big they are. And we're currently hardening them off. And they've been in the inside for ever since they were seeded, and so they need a hardening off period. Oh. Okay, so my dad taught me how to plant my tomatoes from the time I was little, and basically this is how I do it. The only thing we do differently is when he taught me, he just taught me how to put it in the ground and add some fertilizer to it that's already mixed up. Now, we found out that if you add a little slow release, it doesn't matter what kind you get. I usually get an organic kind. And I just add a little handful. It's probably maybe a couple tablespoons or a couple teaspoons to the ground, and a little Epsom salts. You may be wondering why Epsom salts, but what the Epsom salt does is it just allows the chlorophyll to run up and down the plant better. It allows it to be able to have the nutrients flowing up and down the plant better. I just mix it in, and you pop off the little ones. Go as far down as you can. This is pretty tall, so I'm going to have to go over here, scoop a little out, lay it down, and I put the soil underneath the stem to help hold that. Break that up a little bit, the root ball just a tiny bit. Bring it down around, the dirt around. And you've got it planted. And just pack it down around. The root ball's over here, remember that. So you want to, and you water it all around. And you just kind of let that soak in. What the slow release fertilizer is going to do is over time, it's going to break down over about a month period because it's pretty fine stuff. So it'll continually feed the plant, and then this fast acting stuff is just water dissoluble, and it helps to keep down transplant shock. And the reason you remove the leaves is all the little fuzzies. I don't know if you can see it, but all those little fuzzies will turn into root. And the more root base you have, that whole stem, the root ball was here, that whole stem coming up to right here is going to end up being roots. And it'll make for a stronger plant. So we'll just see what we have here. I had to stake these up with my allium plant, with little stakes here. I'm going to remove those. This is actually the stem of the allium bulb when it was done blooming. I just used what I had available. Oh. And you wouldn't believe, the first time I used that Epsom salts, my plants turned the brightest green, the deepest green you could think of. And I couldn't believe it. And it's the only thing I had changed that year. And the stalks were thicker and healthier. You'll see it over time as we come back visiting the garden. Okay, so on this one, the plant is tall, but I don't have to really bend it over because I've got the hole deep enough. I can just kind of break up the root. I already put my Epsom salts and my slow release fertilizer in the hole and just go right up to here, as high up as I want. And then the other thing, it already has fruit on it. You want to go ahead and remove the fruit. And it's okay to plant. A lot of people think you can't plant tomatoes with the fruit on it. That stem's really tough. But you can. You can just take the fruit off, take the flower buds off, and plant the plant. It'll send the energy to the roots to establish it, and then it'll go on from there to flower and produce fruit. Okay. So on this one, I went ahead and put the my stuff in the ground that I use, and I'm not going to bend it over. This one will still come out because it has suckers on it, and it has this leaves up here, so you can plant it. I'm just not going to plant it as deep. And then I'm just going to push the soil around it. Once these ones up here get bigger, that's when I'll take this one off. But I want it to have as much leafage or green on it to help get it started. And water it in. Okay, so we finished putting in all the plants. We put some cages around them and then dropped some stakes in the ground next to them and tied them up to the fence. And what that's or the cages, and that's what the cages are made from, woven fence. You can pick up at Tractor Supply and make your own. And if you liked the video, go ahead and drop some comments down below and like and subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see y'all later.